It's hard for me to imagine how many times grew up on the farm I must have complained about not having enough to drink. As I recall, all the times, whether it was picking rock or walking the beans, or worst of all was those seemingly hottest, most humid days that we'd have to do bale hay or straw, and then being in the barn with all the dust. What I do recall was that the water from our well on the farm was the best water. That cold, pure well water from the farm. But the lesson of the gospel today, lesson for me, is that thirsting for something that is human is always transitory. Because I could only drink so much at the time and it wouldn't be long, and of course I'd be thirsty again. And that it's so easy, like the Israelites, to mumble and grumble about the things that are difficult in life. And that's why it's good for us in Lent to really reflect upon what are the things that are difficult in our lives, that make things difficult. And what is our spirit of accepting that, surrendering to it, being at peace, making the best of it we can. You see, the tendency for many of us might be, or some of us certainly, speaking for myself, might be to mumble or grumble to others or to God, like the Israelites. And yet, what did Moses do when he had this pressure coming from the Israelites? He went right to the Lord and asked the Lord what to do. And Jesus was teaching the woman in the gospel to do the same thing. Ask for that which will satisfy the thirst of the soul, the deepest core part of our being that we long to be fulfilled. It's important to remember about the relationship of the Jews to the Samaritans, is that the Samaritans were the lowly class, if you will, at least as regards how many treated them. And in that lowliness, the Jewish people were to keep their cups clean, not let it be contaminated by somebody who wasn't Jewish. And so that's why it was so striking to this woman coming to the well, looking for water. Understandably, it's a desert area. They would often probably be thirsty. And she comes. Jesus is thirsting for her salvation, as she is thirsting for something to fill the satisfaction of the flesh, meaning, I just need something to drink. What we discover in this encounter with Jesus and this Samaritan woman is Jesus' desire to save souls. And so what he does is he brings her into that place of the well that would bring her internal life, which would then be spoken of as a well within you, welling up within you, the spring of water. As we know, Jesus often used images that people could understand, like water. And so she understood what that meant. She longed for that, to fill that thirst of her body. And yet Jesus, in this encounter over this very ordinary thing, brings her to something much deeper. And she would discover within herself that I'm actually thirsting for intimacy, friendship with God. And unfortunately, in her life, and in part what makes it so extraordinary, is here Jesus being with this woman who likely had been in immoral acts when she was in her marriages that she would have been rejected. Hence, 5 marriages. Hence, the one you're with now is not even your husband. So notice Jesus didn't despise her. He was thirsting for her to actually discover within herself what she was really, really longing for. And the only thing that rightly orders us in our life, and that is, using the image of water and the well, going to the well of God himself to receive that which we most long for. As a simple example, this last week I was so very blessed to be on a 7-day silent retreat. Now I find what's so beautiful about silent retreats and a good retreat director is it's that time where what's going on inside comes to the light. It's like when we're in times of silence, thinking and pondering deeply. And when we go to the well of the Lord, when I would sit in his real presence in the chapel or in adoration and encounter the love of God for me in my own humanity and weaknesses and sins and limitations, and him drawing me out even more to be filled with that which would satisfy me, to let go of the things I was worried about or trying to figure out what I was going to do, and to just receive his intimate friendship. And it's like ordering all these things that need ordering, or healing wounds of the past from difficult challenges that we've had, and like, Lord, where were you? He was saying, I was there all the time. You just didn't see me as a little kid because you didn't know how to relate to me yet. My friends, what am I inviting us to? I'm inviting us to go to the well this Lenten season and take time before the real presence of the Lord. Find an adoration chapel, a church. If you're not able to do that, a room within your house, wherever it is, to just let the Lord fill you with his love, and to allow whatever's coming up or the hardships of life to just be brought to him, and we will find there's a new wellness, a new spring welling within us. And it's not something we did. It's something we asked for, and the Lord gives to us as he seeks to fill the thirst of our deepest longings of our soul.